One of the most important parts of the market are always those trend movements that can last for days, weeks, or even months. Most of the time these trends behave as if they were trains that we must get on at certain times, but if we do it too late we can get to go really wrong. In today's video we are going to show you an indicator that predicts this type of movements. It has been released very recently, and many professional traders are already adapting it to their usual operations. Welcome to the Trader's Game. And before we start, remember that in the description you have the links to join us in our Telegram community, where every day we post charts and analysis of what is happening in the financial markets. And also the trading bonus page, which has been updated and have added new promotions and free bonuses for all those who are starting in the world of trading. Do not forget to leave your email if you want to receive a weekly newsletter with everything that has happened during those days. Obviously, like all indicators and strategies that we teach you in this channel can be adapted to all types of assets, cryptocurrencies, forex, and even traditional markets, but specifically this time we recommend that you use this indicator in 4 specific temporalities: 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 hour, and finally daily temporality. In the part of indicators we will look for Z-score and click on this one here, Z-score probability indicator. In fact, it is already marked also as a selection of the editors, and that just came out very recently. As you can see at the moment only 400 people are using it, but I can tell you that it is going to become very viral. We click and it will appear something like this. I am going to increase the size here a little bit so that you can see everything better, and first of all you will wonder why this Z-score sounds familiar to you. And is that the Z-score is a fairly famous statistical measure that is used for many things. Its basic definition would be that the Z-score is a statistical measure that describes the relationship of a value with the average of a group of values. In investment and trading, Z-scores are measures of the variability of an instrument and can be used by traders to help determine that volatility. And of course that means that this indicator that we will teach you to use in today's video is not just any indicator, but has a dense mathematical basis. A lot of people use the probabilities that it gives you in real time according to the areas that the price could go to, using these numbers here that represent specific prices that in this case Bitcoin could go to, also based on this little chart here. But we in the day-to-day we have to adapt it in a simpler way to make it really effective, because in the end, as I said at the beginning of the video, success in the market is often based on getting on the train of these trends, and this indicator helps us very clearly to detect them as soon as possible. The first thing we have to look for is to see the price always above or below the red zones. At that moment, if the price exceeds it, we know that the trend has a very high probability of starting to change. In this first zone we see it very clear. The first way we have to enter an operation following this indicator is to wait for the wave, in this case green, goes above the red zone, and wait for the next candle in which the indicator tries to return to the colored area, i.e. trying to return to the range. In this case, as you see, it would be here where we would put our first entry in short, but what happens here is that the uptrend is very strong. We see that the green wave comes out again above the red zone, so we would look for another entry when it tries to go back. We would have another entry point in short. But in this case the same thing happens again. We wait again and we would have a third entry. I will begin to mark those in this area, 1, 2, and 3. And here, although the green wave continues to fall, the price continues to rise. But if we compress the chart a little, because we are in 5-minute time frame, we see that a little later the price collapses completely, giving us incredible profits. If we put that the average of our 3 entries is approximately in this area, the stop loss in this case we have not put it, but you can see how we have taken a very large operation simply following the shape of the wave of the indicator, i.e. the price first marked this divergence, but then continued to form the same contour as in the indicator. However, there is another way with which we can further adjust our entries, and that is to wait for the wave to cross, in this case downward, with this white line that represents an average. So at the time that the wave crosses the average we could make one of those entries. Often the price would already begin to fall and we would leave in positive, but as you see this time again the trend is very strong, and the wave is again placed above. If this happens and we return to touch the red zone or even go out above, we will only have to wait for it to cross that white average again to make another entry. Even as always, we can take into account those divergences so clear that shows us. In this case, the average of the 2 entries would be more or less in this area, and again we would get out again very positive. A little further on we have a similar situation. We see the wave, in this case red, falling below the red zone, and what we could do is a first entry when we see that the wave begins to return to the colored range, which as you see would not be a bad entry, or simply wait for the wave to cross the average, or even both to better secure our operations. In this case, the average would be more or less around there, and then we would take our take profit to our liking. I always recommend you to put the stop loss below the previous lows, and look for operations of coefficient 1 to 1.5 or even 1 to 2. But as I say, that already goes more to your taste, and above all will also depend on the type of asset you are operating. If it is very volatile as Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I advise you to always ensure a little more your profits. If we expand the graph a little to have a more global vision, we can observe the effectiveness of this indicator, as for example, every time the green zone touches the red zone and then re-enters and crosses the average, in this case downwards, it gives us practically always some entry points in short that we could not get with virtually any other indicator, and the same would happen if we were looking for entries in long. Despite being in a great downtrend, even the entries in long would practically always come out in profits. Here we would have another, and in this here we would take advantage of all the rise. And as you can see, even in daily time frame, it will almost always give us buy or sell zones close to 100% win rate, a complete madness and very difficult to achieve for any other strategy. This does not mean that the indicator is infallible, but it is certainly one of the best indicators that we can use to combine with others that we use in our usual operations, i.e. a new indicator that has just come out and that we can incorporate to improve our win rate. As always, we encourage you to try it and tell us in the comments below what you thought of it and how you have done with it. Finally, we ask that if you like our work, please hit the like button, which is free and helps us a lot. And as always, you have in the description both our free Telegram community and the official page of Trading Bonus, where all those who are looking for the best platform for trading, whether cryptocurrencies, forex, stocks, or whatever you want, you have at your disposal the best bonuses and promotions to get started in the best way. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video of the Trader's Game.